Kaysville Power Commission. As always, I'd like to ask somebody to do the opening ceremonies.
You do that?
Okay.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful for the opportunity that we have to meet together as a group of individuals of Kaysville City, and grateful for the opportunity that we have to be able to serve our community. And we pray for that guidance and help. We strive to do the things that would have us do, and help us to be wise, and help us to be able to be effective servants in our community. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And then we also wanted to do a moment of silence for Sean Chilcote. For some of you that don't know, Sean served on the board. He was the co-chair with us for roughly a year and a half, terminal from brain cancer. So if we can, just take a minute or moment of silence for Sean. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
So just like, I know we were talking a little earlier on just some heated discussions, but we try to really focus in on what our mission statement is, so that, what we're looking to do, what we're trying to do as we have issues that we're, debating and those types of things. So we always begin with our mission statement, which is Kaysville City Power and Light's mission is to provide reliable electricity with superior customer service at a competitive price to the residents and businesses in Kaysville City. So next item is the approval of last month's meeting minutes. Was there any adjustments? Did you guys have a chance to look at those?
I did.
Yep.
I'll move that we grant approval of minutes from February 2019.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
I apologize for being late, Jordan Stevenson.
Hey, thanks for coming, man.
Yeah, present. Just want to be on the minutes.
Yeah, all right.
Well, I think that you're helping me out because I didn't do introductions. So let's just start again and we'll come back.
one?
Yeah,
Sure.
let's just do it. Go around the room.
Jordan Stevenson.
Brent Tuesnup.
Brock Thane.
Alan Quigley.
Krista Keach.
Strode Kerr, City Council Liaison.
Stacy Harward.
Gary Hatch.
Bruce Rigby.
So even though you were late, you were still like, "Hey, Brock, you forgot the intro." So thanks for having my back there.
Way to be effective.
Move to the next item is the UAMPS resource meeting discussion. So with that, I'll turn the time over for you, Bruce.
Okay, yes, I'll just go through. We had this presentation from UAMPS a year or so ago, so I'm just gonna go back through it. So give you guys a little overview, and then you can, if you have questions later, you can ask, and we can find out anything you need to know. So UAMPS was formed in 1980 under the Utah Local Interlocal Cooperation Act, an energy service interlocal that provides electric services on a nonprofit basis to its members, organized to develop, finance, operate projects for generation, transmission, and energy services. Project-based organization which currently operates 16 separate projects. Projects provide services more economically and efficiently by providing economy of scale. Each project operates independent from one another under a UAMPS umbrella. Not an all requirements provider, which means that we are not required to purchase resources from UAMPS. And the members determine whether to participate in which projects they want to, and are not obligated to participate in any particular one. So shows the 43 members of UAMPS scattered across, what is it, six different states, 46 members, 6 states. And there's the projects. We'll go through those kind of individually. So the first one is called the Hunter 2 project. It was first UAMPS project acquired in 1980. Hunter 2 is a 446 megawatt coal-fired generation unit located in Emery County, Utah. Hunter project consists of 14% undivided ownership interest in the Hunter 2 unit, providing 65 megawatts to UAMPS members. Hunter 2 has been in commercial operation since June of 1980. Hunter 2 is jointly owned by Pacific Corp, UAMPS, and Deseret Power. Hunter 2 is operated by Pacific Corp pursuant to an ownership and management agreement among the co-owners. Current litigation may drive the retirement date. Who knows with political environment. But I'm hoping that this one stays on. This one the bonds have been paid off for about the last 6 years, and so it's our second to lowest price resource, and it's about 25% of our load on average. So it's really a good plan.
Can I throw one thing out here? So, I think, well, maybe everybody here is familiar with all three, but so Pacific Core, UAMPS, obviously I know those two, but Deseret Power, is that something Utah specific? Or,
yes.
Okay.
It is, yeah.
All right. So just another power generation source within Utah, or power
Yeah.
distribution company.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot
Okay.
of different,
All right,
different
okay.
co-ops and different things
All
that
right,
are
okay.
in Utah.
And there's one more too, and it's UMPA. And that's
Okay.
just a conglomerate. It's very similar to UAMPS,
UAMPS.
but different members. as
Okay.
well.
All right.
Yeah,
okay.
and the difference is that with UMPA, all of them have to be in
They
every
have to
project.
participate.
They have to participate. Where UAMPS,
Okay.
we get to decide which ones we want to be, and what percentage we want to be in each project
That's
too.
right.
So we control that. So we have about 5.5 megawatts in that plant.
So really quick, Bruce, that plant looks a lot like the one downtown in Salt Lake. Is that Hunter 1? Or is
No,
not,
it's in Emery County. Hunter 1 is in Emery County too.
Oh,
but
it is?
I'm sure I'm sure they're similar.
The one
Built
downtown
at the
is
same time
is
frame.
Gadsby.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Gadsby. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same time frame, though. That's why they're so similar. Same
Yeah,
technology.
3 smokestacks. It looks really familiar.
Yeah.
But,
It's more for decoration downtown. That's a natural gas.
natural
fiber.
gas
Yeah.
now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And there was some legislation, I think Rocky Mount Power was involved in a couple years ago to accelerate depreciation and retire coal plants. Is that something that you anticipate impacting Hunter?
Yeah, I'm sure it will. I mean, they hopefully this one they'll keep on. It's in good shape. They've done a lot of upgrades and things to that and emissions and things. So we're hoping this is the last one to go
Yeah.
for our sake and
There's pressure for that.
other members of
Pressure,
UAMPS. So
and, I imagine they would. Well, I guess I don't know, but instead of just retiring the plant, maybe convert it into a natural gas plant or something.
depending on
Guess it all-
the
It
economics.
It depends. They have several that are combined cycle plants right now, so that's all economic based.
Got it.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, San Juan project. San Juan project was acquired in 1994. It's Unit 4 is a 533 megawatt coal-fired generation unit located in Farmington, New Mexico. Consists of 7% undivided ownership in San Juan, providing approximately 35 megawatts. It's been in operation since 1979. So yeah, this one's in 2022, this one's going to close. We only have 1.5 megawatts of that, so it's been kind of a troublesome plant. Had a lot of trouble over the years, so I'm glad to see that one go. So Intermountain Power Project is owned and operated by the Intermountain Power Agency and operated by the City of Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. So it consists of two 900 megawatt coal-fired generation units located in Delta, currently planned to be converted to natural gas in 2025. Going to downsize it to 840 megawatts is what the plan is. So 23 of the Utah UAMPS members, Utah purchasers, entered into a power sales contract with IPA for an aggregate of 14%, or 252 megawatts. Because of the capability of IPP purchased by the members was in excess of their needs, we entered into a excess power sales agreement to sell the power back to the 4 California purchasers. So, and that's one thing about this plant. We haven't used any power out of this plant for years. We haven't needed it. That's it. It's mostly an insurance policy for the future. It's our only resource that if we don't use it, we don't have to pay for it. The rest of them are on take or pay contracts, which you pay no matter what.
You use those first.
So we can, we can lay that power off to Los Angeles, and they take it. We can call it back when we need it in any increment we want to. So it's a great resource for the future. So yeah, it'll be natural gas by 2025.
Really quickly on that, though, I mean, is that problematic now based on the EIM and the negative pricing and everything that they're seeing for renewable sources coming off of California?
California. Well, and but it is.
I mean, just
as far as
just in terms of our ability to sell back excess capacity. That's all I'm wondering, right?
well, it's going to be play an important role in Los Angeles, because in California, they've mandated they're not even going to rebuild any of the natural gas plants they have there now. So they're slitting their own throats. They don't have the technology. They don't have the base load, but they're shutting them down. So this is going to be very important in their resource.
Yeah, at some point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think that California is passing or has passed a law that new builds will have solar on them.
Yeah.
That's accurate.
They have a lot now. That's kind of the part of
I know
the
that our
problem.
business has
Yeah, they're-
absolutely exploded in California.
Yeah. Until they get the batteries down a little better, they're going to be in trouble. So you have all the solar you want, but if you want power,
They're getting pretty good.
8 hours out of the day.
They're getting really good now. So.
Yeah, but it's going to take
It's going to take a while. But
It's going to take a while. So yeah, that is important for them. And actually, well, you know that California has mandated by 2045 that they have 100% renewables coming into California. So they're planning on, they're hoping. See, I mean, in California, it's all a hope that technology will advance enough in that time frame. But what they're hoping is to be able to change it out in 2045, and they're hoping by then they'll have the technology to run hydrogen. And right next to us, right there out in Delta, they have Magnum has underground storage, and so they've already talked to them about that. The generators that they're going to buy, the advanced generators going to get in 2025, will run a percentage of hydrogen. Anyway, they're hoping the technology, like I say, in the next 30 years changes, and they can run 100% hydrogen.
So really quickly, when we're talking about the conversion of the plant, right, in 2025 or by 2025, when are they looking to start scaling that conversion to is it full natural gas combined cycle? What are they looking to do?
Yes, it's going to be two generators, combined natural gas.
Okay.
Yep, and that's be it. Yeah, by 2025 it'll be online.
Okay.
In June of 2025, I believe it was. So.
And that's joint project. UAMPS is going to support that, as well as.
It's Intermountain Power Agency. Intermountain Power Agency owns and operates it, and there's 23 of cities, municipalities that are in on it.
We're just on power purchase agreements with them. Then is that what we're saying?
Yeah, we own a percentage of the output.
Right.
So we have 7.39% of the output, and in 2025 it changed to 7.746%. So it goes from we have about 13 megawatts of right now, and then we'll have. We'll only have about, with the reduction, I think it's about 6.5 is all. So, like I say, we're not currently using it.
It's insurance, right?
Yeah, it's insurance, and and I don't know, with California and the prices and the different things they're doing, it's it's cost effective for us, so to use it.
Right, and that's the only reason why I ask, right? I mean, and it's always difficult to project out past a certain period of time, right? But as we're looking at these projects, particularly in the case of, insurance, right? Is there a hurdle rate, right, where we're thinking in terms of cost of some of these projects? Because I know this is one, right, out of a portfolio of projects that are potentially out there that we deem like, that, is there a certain set of criteria where we may say at a certain point, being UAMPS, right, is this worth it for us to participate at this point or not?
Right, and like I say, that's why it's all individually. We can each take whatever percentage we want, or up to our
right. We
limit.
can determine that.
We determine that on a yearly basis. In fact, on a season basis, there's a summer and a winter season that we can recall it or put it back. So
okay.
Yeah, that's like I say. I wish they were all like that, where we could take it or not.
But you have to do. Sorry, Bruce. In this rebuild, I can't remember if there's additional costs with bonds, or have these bonds been paid off? In that conversion, is there an additional cost that we're having to put out? I can't remember where that was at.
No, unless you take the power, it's all rolled into the cost of the power.
Okay.
So if we don't take it, you don't pay it, but if you do, it'll be, figured into the cost of the power.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
all right, and then it's the CRSP, which is the Colorado River Storage Project. So, yeah, it's owned by the United States Bureau of Reclamation. CRSP consists of hydroelectric capacity energy from Glen Canyon Dam, Flaming Gorge Dam, and other small projects in Utah, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico. Each of the members have entered into a integrated contract for electric service with Western. UAMPS acts as a single purchasing agent and schedules purchases of CRSP energy for the members. So it's on a 40-year contract. We're hoping to extend it another 40 years. Mm-hmm. This has been a good. This is our cheapest resource. This hydro is so. There's our entitlements. The winter season is about 2.5 megawatts. Mm-hmm. Summer season 1.9. Obviously, that depends on the water year, and
Yep.
hopefully be even higher than that this year. So. Firm Power Project is established to provide acquisition of firm power supplies from third parties. Firm Power Project agreements, master agreements, and can accommodate multiple power transactions and provide flexible terms for the purchase and sale of firm capacity and energy. UAMPS currently has one long-term transaction to purchase 15.6 megawatt hours of wind energy from Pleasant Valley Wind. We have about three megawatts of that. That's been a pretty good price on that, pretty consistent. The Payson Project or Nebo Power Plant is a 140 megawatt combined cycle natural gas generator facility located in Payson. I don't know if you've seen it. It's right off the road.
Yeah, it's right
West
off.
side of the road, in the middle of Payson there. So 70 megawatts minimum, 112 megawatts the sweet spot, which means that's where it likes to run. So as far as emissions and maintenance, that's where they like to run it. Go up to 140 megawatts maximum. Economics change for each configuration. The Payson project includes 6 miles of gas pipeline, 10 miles of 138 kV and 46 kV transmission lines. The Payson project has been in the commercial operation since 2004. Payson project is operated by UAMPS, and we have 16% of that. So we have about 22 megawatts of the natural gas. Horse Butte Wind consists of UAMPS' right to purchase all the output. Actually, this is about a year old. We actually did purchase it, so it is under UAMPS' control now. So we have 57 megawatts of wind generation, 32 1.8 megawatt wind turbines. Went in commercial operation 2012. It can be increased. We have land and rights for more turbines if we need it. We manage that and all the environmental attributes, which are the renewable energy credits and those things. We sell those. So our entitlement share is 10%, or a little over 6 megawatts. Vail Heat Recovery Project is 7.8 megawatts of heat recovery project located in southwest Utah. The project consists of a heat recovery system that uses waste heat from the Kern River gas turbine compressor to heat the thermal oil that serves as the heat source for the energy converter. So there's no fuel on this one. This is neat. So it heats that oil, and then the oil runs in with and heats a gas that's called pentane, which has a low boiling point. Right. So there's no fuel for that. So it is a carbon-free and renewable energy rated project. Also, the project was commissioned in 2016. Project's operated by UAMPS. Our entitlement share is 10%, which is only 840 kW. Government Public Affairs. So the GPA project was formed to allow UAMPS to protect members' interest in monitoring, influencing, suggesting legislation, educating governmental and regulatory agencies on a local and state and federal level. Member Services Project. The Member Services Project was undertaken to address community needs. The current services include, and that's one of the economies of scale too. So when we purchase some of these equipment and things, we share between different cities so that keep the costs down, maintenance down. Yep. So there's all those different things that we have that we use, some mutual aid agreements. The project owns a 1,600 100 kW mobile generator that's used to provide backup power in case of emergencies. Hurricane and Washington have used the project to acquire and finance gas-fired generation units to provide peaking power and voltage support for their systems. Resource project through UAMPS continually analyzes new projects and potential generating options to further produce long-term stable energy supplies for its members, both demand side and supply side. The staff conducts analyses and studies of new power supply projects. Upon completion of the analysis and studies, the resource committee votes to solicit participation to form. Each participant has the right to subscribe to some or none or all to the least their project allocation percentage. The participant also have the first right to take any unsubscribed allocation before non-resource project participants. Criteria for screening new resources includes cost, operations, reliability, transmission aspect or access, and environmental impacts. Criteria used regardless of energy resource, renewable or conventional, and are evaluated compared to natural gas alternative. Resource project also includes energy efficiency programs, which we're a part of. It has rebates and things. Conservation remains the least cost option to stretch energy supplies and avoid new energy development. The smart energy efficiency programs include home energy savings, or rebates on cool cash, evaporative cooling, central air, ductless heat pumps, heating and gas furnaces. See later, refrigerator, commercial lighting. We don't have any commercial lighting, but we have the home lighting rebates. Also have the rebates on the Nest
So quick
thermostats
question
too.
on the energy efficiency programs, because I know with some of the other utilities, not just in Utah, but in the region, I mean, that's a big focus because of capacity that can create. Is that being tracked, measured by UAMPS participants? I mean, is it impactful?
Yeah.
Not just for the benefit of citizens, obviously, but I think in terms of what that means for the grid, for demand, during peak season, all that type of stuff. Has that been evaluated?
Right. Yes, UAMPS evaluates that and gives a percentage of kilowatt hours saved, and so yeah, they manage all that. It goes right to them, right to their website, and they manage all that. So.
And it's all published?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So they have the rebates. I don't know if you guys looked at those. You can look online. We don't need to go through all that, but that's the pool project. Acts as an agent for UAMPS members, scheduling, marketing, wheeling, and ancillary services. The members are not required to purchase their power energy needs from UAMPS. The output of UAMPS projects are contractually required to be assigned to the pool. The members may consign power resources owned or purchased by such member for inclusion in the pool. Power supply by the pool is acquired according to whether the sales, purchase, are all-in cost planned or unplanned. So resources are allocated based on the member's resource priority list to the member's load. Each member receives its entitlement share of the project's energy on an hourly basis. Then its turn is billed through those energy costs, including transmission and scheduling. If the member's resources do not match their load, the additional resource deficits are provided by the pool, or any surplus resources are purchased by the pool. Each hour, UAMPS schedules projects, output, and makes purchases or sales to match members' aggregate load to the best overall economic benefit to all members. They do it on a 5-minute basis now, too. They're reading that every 5 minutes. They have to keep up on that. Yeah. So individual members' loads and resources are accounted for through the pool. In turn, members with excess resource are matched with those who are deficient resource on an hourly basis. So the dispatcher buy and sell for the next hour based on the system parameters, balancing, shortage, long position, unit availability, or transmission constraints. So that's a basic overview of UAMPS and some of the resources we're involved in. So that, and then they're also looking at, I don't know if you heard of the carbon-free power project.
Yeah.
Small modular reactors.
Yep.
They're going to locate it in, just out of Blackfoot, Idaho.
Yeah.
Department of Energy owns all all that land out there. So they're in the process of permitting that now, and going through the application process on that. So that'll be something that'll be coming up in the next year. We'll have to kind of decide how much of that we want, and it's, yeah. So and that's kind of depends on, you know, the environment, you know, with the government too, as far as how we force our natural gas and coal out, then we'll need, you know,
What
we'll need to have
resources are
some
available.
we'll need to have some base load.
Yeah. With the projected, like with Hunter 2 and you know, and the New Mexico facility and everything, what is UAMPS projecting, you know, right now, I guess, current state, how are the resources in terms of the need across UAMPS membership? I mean, is there excess capacity? Are they at load? Are they having to acquire power off, again, like the EIM to
Well, and yeah, depends on the season, the day, kind of like us. So you look at our load. In the wintertime, our peak is about 24 megawatts.
Yeah.
Summertime, it was 48 megawatts last year. So it's hard to, you know, we have excess for a lot of the time, and then we're a little short in the summertime, so we do have to purchase some.
Yeah, understood. I just
So-
don't, I mean, in most cases, it's planned based off the peak, right? So if you're thinking in summer during on-peak hours,
Right.
I assume that we balance that, right? Like, we don't necessarily plan for that capacity off of the UAMPS projects, or do we?
Right.
Just out of
Well, we
curiosity.
try to stay at about 80%. We don't want to have, you know, you don't want to have 100% of that. Then, you know, 9.8, you know, months out of the year, your excess. So try to balance those costs by, you know, having, you know, the right amount of resource. You know, not too much, not too little. And that carbon-free power project, that, like I said, with these coal plants, you know, closing.
Yep.
That's what everybody's going to try to, you know, cover their base load with, you know, whatever they lose in those coal plants. So that wouldn't come online. I think it was 2028. I think when they were hoping
When they
that would
planned to have that
plan to
online.
have that come online.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, any other questions, or if you have any questions after this, you think about, email me and I'll get you your questions answered.
There's a nice summary in the Dropbox. I don't know if we have that, but there's that resource summary. I think it's in the Dropbox. If not, I can just scan this and email it to you guys. If not,
I believe it's in there.
but it goes through and it has the pricing. And one of the things that I think from, you know, when we came on, and then this will kind of be a good segue into the financial model. One of the things that I don't think was, you know, from my side anyway, speaking from my side, that I didn't know, you know, when you look at solar and you look at avoided costs, we started diving into this, you know, as Bruce mentioned, a lot of these contracts are long-term contracts. And so if you have a long-term contract for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, the hard part is when we start stepping off projects, then that has an impact on us. So that's where the solar piece came into play. And that's where Jordan really came in and said, hey, let's look at each one of these to figure out what our costs are. You know, what is the fair cost for, you know, there is a savings which he's determined for renewables. But what is that? How did we get there? And, you know, what is fixed and what is variable cost? So I guess with that, questions on the resource before I turn the time over to Jordan.
That's great.
Anytime, yeah. Any questions, feel free to email me.
Okay.
And with that introduction, I apologize, but I think we're going to table the
Okay.
actual presentation.
Okay.
And the reason is I think we had talked about wanting to get some updated financials from Dean, and then, you know, there's several schedules we'd used to come up with that. One is the, you know, the financial statements, and then looking forward ahead at the upcoming 12 months, what the budget looks like. And I think we still want to get that. And what I had planned on doing is work with Dean to update and refresh all the data, and then once that's done, bring it in here. Unfortunately, I didn't get to that point yet. So if it's okay with the group, I think we table that one and come back to it. But Bruce just reminded me, and maybe what I'll do is just email it around to the group, but we actually had a very thorough presentation when we initially presented it to the city council. And so that's out there on YouTube, and I'll go dig through and find that presentation and just ping everybody. And then you can watch it and kind of come prepared, and then we'll get into the actual spreadsheet and look at what does this upcoming 12 months look like after we've had a chance to get with the finance director and kind of refresh the data.
Yeah,
If
well,
that's all right.
and I think the interesting aspect, just like what you're talking about, Bruce, I mean, the thing for me that's interesting, because it's, again, applicable to a lot of local utilities. Rocky Mountain Power is no different. I used to work for them. I've got a bit of a sense for it. These changes, right, particularly in long fixed cost, long-term types of projects, as you have to make near-term decisions around, that's very impactful, right? Especially where contracts lock you down and that type of thing. And so we obviously have to be pretty forward-thinking, you know, again, in our partnership with other UAMPS members, and thinking about those projects that make the most sense for us, given the fact that technology is changing, the fact that the power, you know, market, the EIM, everything else. I mean, there's so much that's fluid right now, that's impacting, you know, cost and value and everything else. And we just have to be mindful of that as we're thinking about infrastructure, because, you know, again, utilities are expensive and there's a lot of fixed cost that goes into them. But
I think
do a good job.
to echo your concern with technology, the way that technology is changing and moving right now on almost a daily basis,
Yeah.
I find it, I don't want to say that it's impossible, but I find it really difficult that how utilities can actually even project 5 years into the future. You know, I mean, we look at the way things have changed just in the past 5 years, you know, from like 2012, 2013 to now. And, you know, so what are things going to look like in 2025, 2028? I mean, you know, a decade down the road from now. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how things change and how this whole, I mean, how the model itself may end up changing the way that, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You'll have the cost, right?
Well, yeah, you'll always
Long-term
have the cost, right? You'll always have the cost, but, you know, the distribution and the way that things are maintained and all that, I mean, I can definitely see that changing and kind of metamorphosing, you know, over the next 5 to 10 years.
Totally agree.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how all that works. So, do we need a motion then to table for April? Is that what we want to do?
Yeah, and I'll make that motion to table this until April.
Okay, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then I think the other thing to just note on the resource, just jumping back up just for 1 second, and to kind of just add to your point, one of the things that while we started this discussion was, you know, rooftop solar and where it was. And right, I think last number I heard was we had roughly a megawatt.
Yeah, almost a megawatt and a half now.
Really?
Yeah.
So, you know, just put that in your mind. You know, what is that percent-wise? We're 1.5 out of, that's what, 3% roughly? On 50 megs roughly of our resource.
About 220 installations.
Yeah.
And that's just throughout Kaysville, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, you know, and to that point, and I'm just going to really talk up the model, because Jordan put a lot of time into that, working with it, you know, everyone as far as what he needed to do. Is he's also taken a look at one of the big things that we'll see change this year, which we had a presentation from Gary on, is the move to time of day usage.
Under AMI, the AMI meters,
Yeah.
And so that's also something that he's taken a look at, and I think that's why it's really relevant to say, let's get the numbers right and see how we did with your projections for the, for the year. So.
Yeah, and at this point, now we're a year out from when we had made those changes, and so I really want to, before we walk through it and tell how cool it is, check with Dean and see how far off are we that work the way we want it.
You're going to get a grade based on that assignment.
So,
Hey, one thing too with AMI metering, so do we have an update on like where things stand as far as installations throughout the city and stuff? I mean, do we have any idea on where things are?
We're just a little over 3,000 meters. We haven't,
Okay.
not much has changed since last month.
That's kind of what I thought,
We've had other
with the
things
winter
going
and all
on,
that
so
stuff and everything.
that's the hard part, is, you know, when they have time, they do it, but
Yeah,
they haven't
but
had a
I
lot
mean,
of-
we'll expect things to ramp up during the summer though, I would assume, right? Or I guess it's kind of a,
Well,
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
Well,
maintenance.
I have a question
maintenance
about that.
project should
So
happen, right?
one of the old, meetings, it was initially thought out to be about 3 years, and then you had an anticipation, like, update of about 18 months or so. So are these just funds just from out of taxpayer dollars, just city employees, or is there a benefit of that cost savings over time, or is it just resources of the workers out doing the job?
It's mainly the workers out doing the job.
Okay, so it free them up to do something else instead of, okay. 'Cause that's pretty compelling. And as residents, I think that might be something, you know, if we do some kind of communication about this, or when we do that, it would be really helpful to know. And it would be great to know that this is our initial goal, but we're already, you know, this percent to date, and we're expecting it in 18 months versus 3 years, and just kind of those added value measures to help us as residents understand that we're doing the best work we can for the city, and this is one of the outputs. And the second thing I wanted to add, some of those the past meetings, was the point about, there was quite a bit of a tangent about if there were things that had gone astray, or people needed to fix things and so forth. I would just recommend that if we do notify, that somehow in the education or something would be that we would contact you if there's an issue. Because I think if we bring a big, you know, hoopla around this issue, and everyone thinks I'm going to have to pay for all these added changes and so forth. It wasn't like 4 people or something that were only impacted. It was just super minimal. So somehow to like narrow that down so everyone isn't freaking out thinking that they're all going to have to pay for all these changes.
No, I believe what we decided in a couple meetings ago, or whatever, was to meet with the individual. If they do have an issue on the house, we'll personally meet with them
So amazing.
and tell them that what the issue is, just so when they get the electrician to come in and fix the problem, they know exactly what they need to fix, just to help reassure that they know what needs to be fixed, not the electrician telling what needs to be fixed. So that's what our plan was. We were going to wait until we deployed all the AMIs, the ones that we have issues. We're going to meet with them individually and work with them, tell them that they need to get this fixed for safety issues and stuff like that. But no, that we thought about different directions, different ways of going, but we believe the best route is meet with them individually, one-on-one, and actually walk out back and say, this is the issue. So
It's
Great.
very, very minimal amount of
Yeah,
dollars.
it's a small.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
very small.
Yeah.
But
Great.
yeah.
Okay.
Just one last thing for me, and then these guys know I like to talk, so fair warning. And just so you know, you guys are getting off light. Our first meetings were like
Hours
10,
long.
11. So you guys are, like, I'm feeling bad
It
at
was all
40
Jordan?
minutes. Yeah, Jordan.
Oh,
made the
I'm not
talk.
taking all the blame. Not all me. It's John Lovelace. He's gone, so we'll.
Oh, yeah,
John's
John's
gone.
gone, right, yeah, right.
One thing that is different that sets us apart as well is that we don't fund the general fund off of power, which is, you know,
Yeah, I
for
know.
you guys,
Yeah, I
and
know.
like Bountiful, for example, Lehigh, a few others, they take funds from here, fund the general
Every
fund
other
with that.
municipality does.
Yeah, they
Every
all
one.
do. Every one of them does, yeah, except us.
So,
So-
I don't know if that's good or bad, but I am saying that's really different, and
I
it
have-
keeps our rates lower.
I have no
So,
comment on that. So.
yeah.
There's pros and cons to everything.
There are
right?
pros and cons to everything, right?
That's
And I
right.
don't, yeah, speaking of what, I could talk about that at length. but There's no need for that.
So your no comment is a comment.
My no comment is a comment, yes, right, exactly. So,
Okay. No one from the public, so as far as ending the meeting at 40, unless you guys have something you'd like to talk about.
Could I just?
I think I'm good.
It seems like we usually get a quick chance to recommend upcoming agenda items.
Sure.
And sometimes I forget to email before, so I just wanted, while I'm thinking about it, I'll channel John since I brought his name up. It'd still be interesting to look into, I think, the on-system storage idea that we started talking about, and then it kind of, I think we just had some break, but
I can tell you right now, we talked about UAMPs and things. It's not cost effective at all.
Not
It's
cost
nowhere
effective.
near the money.
Okay.
It's way out of there, way out of the ballpark.
okay, sounds good.
Yeah,
It's a great idea, but
Yeah.
the cost isn't there yet.
Well, I just conceptually, it seems like if we have 1.5 megawatts solar, and that's just growing all the time, it's like, can we leverage that by putting on, this on-system storage to capture it? But I guess we're not there yet.
And that's what the time of use rates are gonna do. It's gonna incentivize them to put their own battery systems in, and use
Yeah.
those during those time and, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the way to look at, go to,
And then the other item I wanted to make sure we had it on for an upcoming meeting, Bruce, is just to give you the chance to walk through the change. There was a slight change on how we're netting the solar on that
Yeah.
agreement. And I don't know
The
that.
billing only works one way.
Exactly.
2 readings.
Yeah.
Delivered, received, that's it.
So when we had done our model, we were assuming, I think we were assuming netting like on a monthly basis but
Yeah, and
we had talked about that, and so the wording changed a little, and I just think it'd be good to
yeah,
just
the billing
do a
sys-
quick
billing
summary of
system
what that change was.
Couldn't do that, and it wasn't doing that. It was calculating the other way,
Yeah.
so I just changed the wording to make it,
Yeah.
equal what
So
the
I just think
system
it's
is.
obviously not like a 30-minute presentation, maybe a 5-minute, just quick to let the group know what the change was. And I think that'd be good for maybe next month or one of the upcoming months.
Yeah, and I had
That's all right.
just to mimic that, I had a guy from Vivint, their legal, actually ping me on this, so it's worth just, I can't remember who it was, but, so I think it's worth discussing for sure.
I think it can be I think it does have a bill impact. So I think it's
Little bit.
something we just want to make sure the group understands.
I could probably figure out who.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but it was someone from Vivint. Maybe reach out and find out what their concerns were. I can't. And I'll look back at my notes. I have them, but I don't remember off the top of my head. So.
I can find out. I'll look.
And then one more
I'll
thing,
talk to him tomorrow.
on this schedule, the monthly meeting for next month, someone had mentioned last time that we were gonna possibly do a tour that same week. Is there any way that we could reschedule spring breaks? I won't be at the meeting, but could we just do the tour a different time? So I could be available, if we're still planning on that? Someone had thrown out a date in April for the tour. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about, sorry.
And I'm fine rescheduling. I don't have any.
I am as well.
I think we did reschedule that April, didn't we, to the next week down?
We did, yeah.
In fact, I'm almost for certain we did.
Yeah, I got the dates here.
Yeah.
I've got it on my calendar.
Yeah, I'm
April
gone that next
It's
week.
April
so-
2nd is
Oh,
what we
you're
have
gone
scheduled
Well,
right now.
the spring break was the first one, and then the next week I'm in Dallas, but, so,
Oh.
I mean, I'll probably miss the meeting, but if we.
Spring break is the first week of April. I think we
Right.
talked
Right.
about it.
And then I think we talked about meeting on the 9th, if I remember correctly. I may be mistaken.
It's April 2nd is what we have.
Yeah,
but
that's what we
can-
have, and we said that we would reschedule if we needed to.
If we
Or we
needed
could
to,
change
okay.
it.
Yeah,
Let's look at it.
I'm flexible.
So, but then for the tour, would you rather do like the third week if you're in Denver?
That would be great, yeah.
Because I don't think we're in a hurry to do the tour, so.
No,
Yeah,
and probably the
wait
nicer
another
the
week.
weather, I mean, it'd be fine, so.
So just so that I make this correct, April 9th is when we'd like to schedule this meeting. Is there any scheduling conflicts, Stacy, with that you know of?
All right, okay, all right.
Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that. I mean, Krista will not be here, just for a clarification, but.
I will watch you from the gym.
Okay.
No, you won't. I'm kidding.
I will.
9th?
So April 9th.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm
gonna
okay.
watch
Are
the
you
tour.
okay with that, Brent?
Yeah.
The 9th? Jordan,
9th
you
will
good
work
with the
better.
9th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You
And then
guys
the
all right with the 9th?
third week,
Tentative
want to
meeting.
do a
Yeah.
tour.
We're canceling our city council meeting for that first Thursday because it does fall into spring break, so we'll only have one city council meeting in the month of April, so. But
Okay. Okay. Anything else that we want to
Can you send
add?
out an update for that?
Yep.
Or please, okay, thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm good though, so. And
Nice.
then, yeah, maybe that third week, we can plan something with you guys to just do a quick tour of the, things, so, yeah.
Gary, would you be able to let us know what would be best for you guys on that week as far as
The third week,
Yeah.
what days, what time?
so do you want to do it, not including a power commission meeting? It's a separate from a power commission meeting?
Yep. So do like we did last time, do a special. I think we'd show them the facilities that we that we have over here.
So we could do it at a special time, but still say it's a power commission meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do
If
that.
if you
too.
We would
want.
have to, wouldn't we? I mean, with all of us being together.
Yeah, it would be
Yeah.
noticed and all that stuff.
Yeah, we'd have to, so.
Yep.
I'm just saying what time works best for you guys. Bruce, same thing. Like, just probably the same thing. We'd go through, show them the yard, show them the facility there, and then go to each substation like we did last time would be.
So I guess my question is, do you want to hold it the third week of April, or do you want to go to the next month and include that as one of your power commission meetings?
Potentially could do that because by May,
It's nice outside.
It'll be
and
nicer,
Weather's
yeah.
nice and stuff. Yeah, we could do that. We could bump it for, are you okay with May?
Yeah, and like do the financial model review the next time and then do, yeah, that sounds great.
So, yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay.
that
All right,
works.
Let's plan on that.
Okay, so we'll do the tour May 7th and maybe just do, if it's okay, maybe we just start it early.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
that works.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we're good. So,
Okay. Anything else?
That's good.
Okay.
good. I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thanks.